This is how we do it. All right, checking the lighting. See if we can get this just right. Okay. So, gleaming bush, blush, pop, crush. Or we can glow. Or we can go dark. I think I like pop. All right, here we are. I am very hungry, by the way. So this ain't gonna last long. At least I don't anticipate it. Do you have a favorite pizza? This is my first time, but see, I add to it. I like pizza sauce or marinara. Marinara. Hydration too, by the way. Whenever you're eating anything that is of a flour nature, anything that is made from processed foods, which this is, essentially you need to hydrate. Why is that? Let's make some sense here. Let's make sense out of why we do the things we do. Because if you're new to my channel, my name is Lana, and I'm here to uplift, support, inspire, and empower you through my inspired living. So the things that I do have meaning. There's a reason behind my madness. I like to hydrate. Preferably hydration in the form of fruits and vegetables is the best form of hydration. This whole idea around why do we drink water? I want you to take this into consideration because our ancestors weren't sucking on 8 glasses of water a day. In fact, that was introduced around the same time they started adding fluoride to our water. Think about it. Ponder on that one. Because fluoride only calcifies your third eye, and we don't want to be third eye blind. But it's a true story. They used fluoride to dumb down the Jewish concentration camp prisoners. And they weren't just Jews in those concentration camps, by the way. They were anyone who went against the norm, who spoke out. You know, when you speak out, when you speak your truth, you're going to piss off some people. But don't be afraid, because the truth is within you, and you're not here to explain yourself or prove yourself to anybody else. You need to tap into you, the truth within you, the Satnam, truth is my identity, not the ego, the mind that wants to identify with constructs, stories. No, truth is a knowing. It's a gnosis, a Gnosis, a knowing. It gnaws at you from the inside out. You can't deny it. You can't repel it, reflect it. Truth is something that will always be with you. And so, let's go back to things that make you go, Hydration. You're going to get more hydration through fruits and vegetables because you're meant to have that mineral content. And most water that you think you're drinking to hydrate is not even being absorbed by your body. It's devoid of actual life. Hydrogen. Most of the water that we're told to drink, bottled water, oh, there's another scam. We can make people pay more money for bottled water than they'll pay for gas. How crazy is that? Water is actually the second most renewable substance under the Earth's crust after petrol, which is not a fossil fuel. Let's just get that straight. So if you are consuming lots of water and wondering why you bloat, why you feel inflamed, why you don't feel quenched or hydrated, it's most likely because it's dead water. So unless you're getting water from a rich stream, it's going through pipes and it's losing its structure. So it's dead, it's unstructured, there's no mineral content, it's probably polluted with all sorts of chemicals because most water, and I live in Florida where they have to clean out the wastewater. Think about that one, that's kind of nasty. And if you think about what goes down the toilet, also goes back through and processed. It's kind of a disgusting concept, but for every drug that you consume, whether it be pharmaceutical or recreational, anything that you consume, you put into your body, goes out of your body, goes back into the wastewater and gets recycled through. So imagine, we have people with all sorts of chemical imbalances, with issues with their hormones, but we never stop and remember that what is coming out of the tap, typically what you are putting back into your system by way of unfiltered, especially if you're drinking tap water, or even absorbed through your skin, which is your largest living, breathing organ. When you consume that, you are consuming what went down the first time, because not all the filtration system is going to pull it all out. So imagine a woman is on birth control and she goes in the bathroom and that gets refiltered through. That's just one example. Or even heart medications or diabetes medications or you name it, drugs, recreational drugs. These are things that can make you go crazy if you overthink it. I mean, listen, hey, if I'm talking about it, I've gone deep down that rabbit hole. Especially when I used to live in Naples, Italy, I was always thinking, wow, how much of our water is actually reprocessed urine, waste? And let's talk about the real truth of what goes out must come back in, right? First in, first out. What goes up must come down. And again, like I said, our skin is our largest living, breathing organ. So it actually absorbs just as quickly as when you consume through your mouth. So when you have chemicals that splash on your skin, it doesn't take but maybe 20 seconds at the most for it to go into your bloodstream. And these are just a few of the things and the reasons I do the things that I do. I have a filtration system on my shower head, specifically because I dislike the idea of chlorine being absorbed into my bloodstream, or fluoride, or whatever else, ammonia, because believe it or not, in most water systems and the treatments that they do, they add chlorine to clean it, which it's not really a cleaning agent, by the way. It's more toxic to your system than you realize, which is one of the reasons I don't even like getting into public pools or any pool that uses chlorine, because that right there, that weakens your immune system. And during the summertime, why are we wondering why we have things like skin cancer and issues with immune systems when you get into a public pool or any pool that has chlorine? Now you've spread chlorine on your skin and the sun will bake it in. So repeat that. Anything from chemicals that you put on your skin to protect yourself from the sun, if those are chemicals that are getting baked into your skin, 9 times out of 10, that's probably the reason for most skin cancer, is what you put on your skin gets baked into it. Anything you put on your skin should be something you would eat. If you wouldn't eat it, you should not be putting it on your skin, because it will suffocate your skin. It will poison your skin. It doesn't protect you from the sun. If anything, you need the direct sunlight on your natural skin. That's what gets the body mixing all the minerals and the nutrients, because it's all, this body's amazing. And science hasn't figured it all out. It does its own thing. It doesn't need science to tell it how to do it either. So little things like getting up first thing in the morning and absorbing the sun through your eyes actually starts the chemical process within your body that allows your body to put out the protection that naturally protects you from the sun at certain hours of the day. There's a whole communication going on through the rods in your eyes and the body. But most people aren't tuned into that. And that's just a small little detail. That's why sun gazing is so important. You can heal all sorts of issues. I'm not going to tell you to do it because I'm not a doctor. So there's my disclaimer for this. What I share with you is my personal experience. And I'm here to inspire through my inspired living. What I've learned along the way of my almost 48 years, young, because I feel like I'm going backwards. Because to me, life is play. I'm here to reinfuse fun into the world. I'm here to put, the fun back into your day, playtime. I don't want to be all, oh, let's get all serious about stuff. Now get over that shit. That's what ages, is you losing that curiosity. That's why they say hang out with children, because children are there to reinfuse life back into you, to remind you the joys, the fun, the curiosity, the new, the awe of life. They're awesome, awe-inspiring. So let's eat this pizza, because I can only talk so much before my pizza's already getting, I like it crispy. So it's gonna probably be a little drippy. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, I'll have to talk when I eat. Have you ever had a Clo Clo pizza? Yummy. This is a garden Nirvana. I specifically got it because I like lots of veggies on my pizza. And then I put the mature cheddar 𝐕𝐢𝐧𝐝 cheese on top, along with marinara sauce on top of, before I put the cheese. And then I put the avocados on top because I have to have my avocado. And I put more sauce on top. It's good. This is really good. Woo! I was craving pizza today, and I thought, why not have pizza and share my review? ASMR. Because life's too short. What you should eat, you should enjoy. So, one of the things that I learned over the years is how easy it is for us to self-sabotage our whole experience by having negative self-talk. The whole purpose of meditation is to recognize what are your patterns, what are your mental challenges, what is the constant dialogue that goes on like a record, spinning round and round. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a crazy person, right round, round, round. Your mind will self-sabotage you when you are consuming something, especially if you're somebody who is so worried about weight gain, weight loss. If you're overstressed over your weight, over how you look, how you feel, the first question is always, what is your self-talk? Because if you're already self-sabotaging, and I like to say, if you're gonna cheat, enjoy what you eat. I don't even see it as cheating. That's the biggest lie right there. Because the mind, when it hears certain words, whether conscious or unconscious, recognizes how efforting they are, how challenging they are in the words, and the meaning of, oh, I shouldn't eat that. Ooh, don't shit on yourself. Don't shame yourself. Don't blame yourself. Like, you have food in front of you. How about infusing it with, oh, I'm so grateful. I am. I'm grateful I stopped and I got a pizza at Sprouts. And I cut it in half, and I stuck it in the toaster oven. And I took the marinara sauce, and I put it on there. And then I put the slices of cheese. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to eat this. This is going to be so good. And then the more marinara sauce with the avocado slice. I'm like, I'm going to share this with y'all. Because this, to me, is the beauty of life. I'm a foodie from way back. I love to eat. Don't let the size, don't let the size fool you. I'll surprise you with how much food I can put away. Well, at least that's what I've been told. So let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. What are your favorite foods? And do you feel worthy of eating those foods? Is it healthy food that nourishes your body? Or is it the kind of food that you purposefully eat because you know it's not good for you and you really don't even enjoy it? Like, what's the whole intention behind what you put in your mouth? Is it because you're in a shitty mood and then you reinforce it with the shitty food? Because again, whatever you're in a mood, you reach for a food. That's why we call it comfort food. And it reinforces that mood. So unless we're really mindful of the mind chatter, the self-deprecating thoughts, the program that's running the show, and self-sabotaging you from within, then you won't be able to make the changes. So if you notice that if you're in a shitty mood, you reach for shitty food, why not step back and go, oh, I'm in awareness of this. How am I going to change this? Do I want to change this? Do I want to continue down this path? Am I happy with this? Is it still serving me? What do I get out of this? What would I get out of it if I didn't do it? Like, you have to weigh the pros and the cons. Because the biggest con is your own mind most of the time. And if you don't want to change, that's fine. But if you do want change and you're claiming, I want a better life, you have to get a hold of what it is that's creating that life to begin with, that you're already experiencing it. And it starts a lot of times with food. And I say that because we are a culture steeping, marinating, literally, in all sorts of different flavors that sometimes we savor and other times we deny ourselves. Because food is second best to belief, our BS and our belief systems, is one of the biggest addictions that people have, is to certain foods. And you can say, oh, it's no big deal. Oh, I eat in moderation. But is that true? And only you know you. And so it really boils down to becoming aware of the thoughts, acknowledging them. Don't just poo-poo and go, oh yeah, I'm aware of it, but I keep doing it. Because awareness is the key to unlocking the door. That unless you acknowledge it and you're aware of it, you'll never be able to make a change or a shift. And shift only happens when you're ready, when you're tired of your own shit, is what I like to say. Most of the times, it takes getting to that point of our own personal disgust with our own selves. So you can keep going down the road and just be in awareness of it, and there's nothing wrong with it. Be humble. Own it so it doesn't own you. Honor it. Okay, maybe I do this a little longer. And the gift is knowing that you have the choice. You have the power of choice. That is your superpower. That at any moment, you finally decide, I'm done with this habit. I'm done with this bullshit. I'm done with my unconscious, subconscious, driving, self-deprecating, negative self-talk. When you are done with that, then you get to choose what you're going to replace it with. But the only way to replace it is to release it, to relieve it, to acknowledge and accept it. And again, the only way to own your life is to own all aspects of yourself. Eating is a beautiful thing. It should be done with so much appreciation. Because your mind is a currency that you are paying for every experience. How can you appreciate and remember what appreciation is in finance? Compounds interest. Don't you want more of the good stuff? So why would you get stuck on fixating on the bad stuff unless you thought you wanted more of that? So our thoughts, conscious or unconscious, are our currency. Literally, currents, electricity. Where we focus that currency, those currents, that energy, that electricity feeds wherever you send it. And just like a banker, you need to be very mindful, and you also would be very wise to budget your currency wisely, your thoughts, so that you can get more of what it is you want versus commiserating over the things you don't want. Yum. Biggest joy in life should be your experiences, because that's what we're here for. Life is about experience. So, what experiences do you want to have in this life? And have you noticed patterns in your life where you keep repeating certain experiences? There's usually a pattern there. And until you start reverse engineering, unpacking, literally unpacking, going down to the root cause, the layers, you have to be willing to put in the effort. And it doesn't mean efforting is going to be like, exhausting. Sometimes it will be. Usually the biggest effort is getting past your BS, your belief systems. Limiting beliefs, limiting stories, the I'm not worthy, the I can't because, or even the old ones, the old stories of family legacy passed on. Well, this happened to my parents, so it's going to happen to me. We need to get out of that old imprisonment, because that's what that is. This is the biggest prison, and the biggest battle that's going on right now is a battle within. Everything we see outside of ourselves right now is a reflection of what's going on within. If you are wondering why the state of the world is the way it is, look at your life. What is it in the world that stands out the most? And then recognize where it is in your life. Because where attention goes, energy flows. And once you spot it, you got it. Which means that trigger, that thing that's upsetting you the most, is actually within your life. Or you wouldn't even notice it. It wouldn't be that apparent to you. And that's humbling. Because we all have some work to do on ourselves that will affect the seasons of change around us. That truly, Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. And once you start implementing small changes in your own life, it ripples out. We literally are, again, the currency. We are the data. We are the program running the show. Everything you do in your life affects everyone else around you. It's subtle sometimes. Sometimes it's extremely profound. This is the irony of life, is that we cannot be without, because we are with one another. So when we talk about oneness and being whole, we have to embrace our dark and our light, because without the dark, you wouldn't even see the light. And without the light, you wouldn't know dark. So all of it has to be embraced, because the wholeness is when they're in balance. Balance and harmony is the key. The real true key is neutrality. It is acknowledging there's this and there's that. And they both coexist because they're part of the whole. So when you want to choose something that you do like versus and resisting and rejecting what you don't like, you're still resisting exactly what it is you claim to like. That in this life, you cannot only choose the good without getting the bad too. It just may not be as profound in that moment. But at some point, if you have rejected that, it will show itself. These are natural orders of nature. That until you find the balance within, you're going to be imbalanced all around. That really the way to win at the game, even though nobody likes the game, is finding the neutrality, is learning new tricks. Don't play the fight it game. Don't play the comply it game. Try a new one. That's how we truly win. Not doing the same thing over and over again. Because we're not here to play the crazy game again. We've been doing this. This isn't our first rodeo show here, people. We've all been here before. We've probably worked We were probably here in a totally different capacity. And I guarantee you this. There's a little devil in you. There's a little angel in you. There's all of it. It's all in you. Because as a whole, it has to exist or you wouldn't recognize it out in the world. We are all of it. The sooner we accept what is within us, the sooner we accept that is going on around us, like really see the synchronicity, the truth, that maybe we don't like to see the violence in the world, but that violence is within us. It wouldn't exist outside of us if it wasn't somewhere in us too. But until you make peace with you, it will continue to stand out the most in your life. But believe it or not, what gets highlighted typically is only highlighted to get your attention to manifest more of it. So if you really want to look at the way the game is being played right now, you need to totally disengage. Thinking you want to be in the know, you know, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, is one of the biggest problems we have right now. I'm afraid to not know. But you don't know anyway. So what you think you know doesn't make you any more informed. Do you know what's within you? Or are you more attuned and tuned out to what goes on elsewhere that doesn't even affect you? And it's just all up in here. This is, again, the battle of the mind. Fear of missing out is, I need to know. I gotta know. Well, what is it that you gotta know? And how does that apply? And how does that affect your life? Just like food. You know, I grew up during the times of, there are starving kids in Africa. You better eat all the food on your plate. And me and my sisters were so clever, we said, well, can we send them our food that's left over? Because of course we wanted to see them eat. How are you going to make that change? Are you really that fixated with others outside of you? We've got to get past all this distraction. The only way our lives get better is if we actually live them instead of putting them on hold because other people have it worse than us. Don't you think the shame blame game is lame? We've done that long enough. It's been perpetuated through religion. You're not supposed to feel worthy. God forbid. Now really, let's go with that one, right? God wants you to be happy. The biggest lie perpetrated is that you're not worthy and you have to prove yourself. And that's man perpetuated. God didn't say that. You didn't hear God say that. That came from a spokesperson for God, which to me is like saying evil, because God doesn't speak like that. I feel God in my heart. I feel source truth in me. And I've had to unravel and unwrap a lot of lies that were perpetrated in my life, a lot of conditioning that were lies that were not my truth. Being raised Catholic, you're supposed to give to everyone else because God forbid you receive. And so what does that do? It keeps you constantly feeling like something doesn't feel right. What about me? I'm supposed to give to everybody else. Well, who gives to me? If we're always giving to others, how are we receiving? Like, life is about receptivity. If you deny yourself receiving, you're also denying someone giving. Again, it's receptivity is about giving and receiving, the ebb and the flow, the energy moving wherever we go, in and out, all around, like the toroid, right? This is what we are. We are highly sensitive beings. We have 5 senses. And when you tap into the wisdom of your truth, your 5 senses being heightened in themselves, you actually feeling, you smell it, you see it, you taste it, you touch it, you hear it. When you're really truly tapped into you, you start to notice what doesn't align with you. You notice intuitively. You're guided from within and you don't go without. that you notice how beautiful a food can taste, and you can transmute and transform that food into nutrients and nourishment. We are here to appreciate every experience, not just the good, not just the bad. We're here to celebrate it all. Why eat? Good questions. Why breathe? What do you see? We eat with our eyes, then it's part of the whole five senses. And in India, because the fingers represent all the planets, you eat with your fingers. Ultimately, the way that they eat, it's a beautiful thing to behold when you do it. And try this. You eat with all your fingers. And the way that they eat, they even touch their fingers to the lips, because the sensuality enhances. And it's also kinetic. It's also the energy that you infuse yourself with as you feed and feel all of the five planets. I'm actually convinced, more that I've studied, and yes, I still eat with utensils. Maybe we should change those to copper, because believe it or not, copper infuses energy, changes the polarities, and that back in the days of farming, copper was what they used for tilling the soil, for infusing the energy back to the earth. When they started introducing all this steel, all this industrial machinery, we started seeing more depletion in our earth and the nutrients in our food. We are more devoid of the minerals and the nutrients from our foods now because of the increase of petrochemicals, of agra, gotta have fertilizer. No, you don't. If you're doing it right with permaculture, with hygienic renourishing of the planet, like Earth knows better than us. Humans trying to do better than God, better than nature, is one of the biggest, this is a conversation I was having earlier today, really, how did we become so infatuated with the idea that we could do better than nature? That we were made in God's image, and that we're falsely idolizing man to tell us how to behave, to live, to eat, to whatever. I mean, if you're a Christian or someone who follows the teachings of God, I think that that's actually sacrilegious, because he said, God, even in the teachings, whether you believe them or not, don't fall. Okay, God's a jealous God. He doesn't want you basically worshiping anybody but him. Why are we humans buying into rules that men have come up with? Does that make any sense to anybody? I'd like to know. Because to me, my younger self was always retaliating from that, because it didn't make sense. Because my connection to source was I knew. No, that person doesn't settle with me. Yes, you respect your elders to a certain degree, but if they're disrespectful and they don't deserve it and they don't earn it, why would you give that over to them? Give them more power than yourself, which is another lesson. Why would you give more power to someone other than yourself? Why would you give your energy, feed someone else's battery, which is essentially what we all are? We are the life force. We are the energy that they harvest. And they feed off of us. They especially feed off of our fears, because we're easier to manipulate the more we're in the fear vibration. We're easier to harness and control, because if you create the chaos, they will give you the order, which is authority, and it's not natural. Most people won't feel aligned with it, but will get angry whenever they feel they're being controlled. And yet, the funny part about that is they would rather others go along so that they could get past those little humps, instead of recognizing how powerful we are together. Us humans in union. Humanity is humans in unity. Community is common unity. It's about people coming together and recognizing the one thing we have in common. Nobody really wants to be controlled. We just want to live our lives. Nobody should be telling anybody what that looks like either. If you don't like it done to you, why would you do it to another? Golden rule. Do unto others you would want done unto you. It's a human rule. It's nature's rule. And we are living in some rather crazy times, don't you think? Where we think we need to corral, and we're more enslaved now than we've ever been, people. I don't even want to hear about slavery in the past. How about looking in the mirror? Every time you got to ask for permission, whether it's to do something on your property, whether it's to drive your car legally, you have to have insurance. That's not freedom, people. Anytime you got to pay someone off, taxes, none of that abides by human nature. Basically, that's a form of bullying. It's a mafia system. It's a Ponzi scheme. You have to give me money. If I want to do something on my property, why do I have to ask for permission to do something? Because there's so many layers to the regulation where we're at in the world. The only way that we're ever going to move forward is if we dissolve all of it and start all over. We can't fix what's broken, and it's really broken. So this is me just sharing where I'm at, and have been for a long time, actually. Get smarter, people. There's a reason why a lot of people with money got smarter, or may know how to get around paying all the bullshit. Don't be resentful. Learn from it. Don't buy into this, oh, the rich need to pay more taxes, or us versus them. Really? They need you to be divided. I spent over 10 years in the Air Force. I worked in government contracting. I've seen more corruption. But what astounds me is how many people will look at me and not want to hear what I have to say. Which is why I don't say much to begin with. That and the fact that my TikTok got disabled when I was talking. That's got to tell you something. When you start speaking your truth, your personal experiences, and you're shut down, it's pretty interesting. It's humbling too. Because I know with my background, I had a TS clearance. I was up there. I supported a lot of systems that monitor. You can see this stuff online now. You can look for it. People didn't want to hear me believe, don't want to believe that there's weather modification. And I'm just like, that was a memo when I was in the Air Force. We will control the weather by the year 2002 or 2012. I don't remember what year it said. But I remember the memo. Why is it so hard for people to believe other than cognitive dissonance? I don't want to believe it. If I look away, maybe it'll go away. I'm sorry to say, denial is not going to change what is really happening in the world. But the sooner you confront your own shit, the sooner the other stuff goes away. Because when you heal you, you heal others too. The reason I'm so passionate about the things that I do, the fact that I love to teach yoga, breath work, rebirthings, body awareness, the reason I do what I do, because of my own experience. I teach from my personal experience. I know how deep I was in the bullshit. I had to deal with more power trippers, authority figures, putting their thumbs on me. wanting to control me in the most inhumane ways. As a woman in IT, working really, really hard to prove myself, which I didn't need to. I was damn good at what I did in my past. I was called the resourceful one. I was known for being able to make things happen. Still am. I pride myself on that on the one hand. On the other hand, I'm humble too, because I witnessed how other people would get away with stuff because they didn't go the extra mile. But because I did go the extra mile, I was the first one they'd turn around and call out or try to make problems for. So it's an interesting dynamic, because when leadership is toxic, that trickles down. And if you work in a toxic environment, I guarantee you it's because your leadership has issues. It doesn't just exist in the workplace. It comes from the top. It always comes from the top, and it trickles down. You may not like it, but until you acknowledge it and find ways to get away from it, you will continually be affected by it. I've been very blessed. I've had a rather interesting life. A really interesting life. I've had every experience from being abused by a pedophile, me and my sisters, to being in the Miss Maine teen pageant, top 10 runner-up, going into the Air Force in IT, living around the world, working on some amazing systems, being really good at computers, by the way, very resourceful, being in fitness all my life too, because I was always a fitness monitor in the military, teaching aerobics, step aerobics, kickboxing, or yoga, all of it. And sometimes I've been humbled enough to go, wow, I forgot I used to do this kind of thing. And most of what I've learned was because for my physical body, we were used as guinea pigs in the military. They love to poke and provoke. They love to poke needles in you. They love to give you medication. They especially love to keep the veterans drugged up. Deny them till you die. Remember that saying from my grandfather, deny them till they die. And that's a true statement from the patriarchy, is they would actually, and they do this in the military and the VA, I've witnessed it and experienced it, they will pay contract companies to find ways to deny the veteran their benefits, even documented in your records, your medical records. Because the average person, when you say you're denied the first time, they won't go back and follow up. They won't file an appeal. But before I got out of the Air Force, I was reminded, and my mother, she got my stepdad, his disability, and my grandfather's the same thing. So I'd already seen this way of behaving in the past. So because I witnessed that, I also knew what to expect. But mine took way longer than it should have for a lot of the different things that I was trying to get acknowledged. And they hire someone so they can throw out all your supporting evidence and use theirs to deny you. And that's a pretty messed up system. They spend more money denying the veteran their benefits than it would cost for them to just pay the veteran, to just take care of them. And then because Big Pharma's in bed with everybody, especially with them, they would rather see people drugged up and have shorter lives. Wasn't really the direction I was going with in this video. I'm sorry for that. Sorry if you came here for pizza. I'm still eating my pizza. These are just some of my life truths and my experiences. And because I dealt with some shady characters during my career, I got blacklisted. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it brought me back here to work on healing me from the inside out, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Because I had gotten to a point where I had cervical spine issues so bad I was on gabapentin, Neurontin. I couldn't even turn my head. I had hit my head in someone's car, caused me severe neck issues where it was pinching on the nerve. I should have been on disability, and I didn't even know I could do it. Because in my mind, my work ethic was to show up, to push through the pain. Because I didn't know to take care of myself first. But isn't that part of the game? Keep you so in distress and stressed out that you forget about you. You're so stressed out about making a buck, about paying your bills, about making sure you can take care of yourself, that you're not even taking care of yourself. That's how crazy my life got to. And then to be blamed for the work environment being toxic, that's what I'm talking about, is how it trickles down. Because they weren't taking care of me. They weren't offering, hey, you've got a medical disability. You should probably take your short-term or your long-term disability. No, in fact, they found excuses to get rid of me. So yeah, this has been an interesting time for me to really go, wow, I'm in a much better place than I've ever been. And it's been tough. And I'm going to tell you that right now, because even though I show up and people have seen me and I keep a smiling disposition and I really truly am here to reinfuse fun into the world, it has been a rough, let's see, I lost my job in 2008. February 2008. So 14 years ago, and I came back to the States, I had to start all over again. And it was challenging. But I'm grateful because it showed me how strong I am, how resilient, how I could repattern and also rewrite my story, because that wasn't my story. That wasn't my truth. I had just gotten caught up in the loop, gotten caught up in the game, the stress game, the inauthenticity game. Because of course I wanted to be in Naples, Italy. I didn't want to leave Europe. But that particular position was life-sucking because it was inauthentic to my soul. And because that was how the divine orchestrated me getting out of it. I even knew it at the time. I was pushing through the whole time looking for something better. And I will never forget saying to my mother, I knew that God literally said, you're not making the choice to change. I'm coming in, I'm stepping in, because you are actually hurting and harming yourself. And I do believe that's what happens. God steps in when you aren't taking care of you. So in various times in my life, I've had that happen. But that was one of the most profound times of my life when it did. And where we are in the world, the question is, are you still pushing through something that's not even authentically you? Are you still attached to, addicted to your story, your identity, the persona, the mask that you put on a daily basis? Or can you look in the mirror and honestly say that you love yourself in this way? You love yourself right here, right now, and everything you're doing is aligned with your heart and soul. Because that's been the biggest key to me, is acknowledging that the spine is a direct correlation to the mind, and that the body's always telling on the mind. So when you have physical ailments and pains and you're struggling through stuff, the body's always telling on the mind. The pain is an indicator there's a mistruth, an untruth in your mind. The guidance system is, oh, I've got an emotion, which is created in the mind. I'm triggered, it's up in the mind. When you feel it, the sensation in your body, it's the body going, oh, that stings, because that's not true. So it manifests in the body to try to get your attention. Tension is vying for your attention. Physical tension, which by the way, my neck's been jacked today, so I've been taking it easy. You know, the tension is vying for your attention. Stop. Sit with it. Close your eyes. Breathe into that space. Create space in the tense area, because you have to create space for it to tell you, to show you, to reveal the message in your pain. There's purpose in your pain. And until you slow down and actually acknowledge it, it will continue to be there like a trusty old friend. It will rear its head. Hey, I'm still here, just letting you know. And sometimes the pain can become your addiction too, because it's consistent, it's predictable, makes you feel significant, because it only takes satisfying 3 of the basic human needs for you to have an addiction. Yeah, life is funny like that. I highly recommend the Clo Clo Garden Nirvana. It's really good. And it's especially good when you add some marinara sauce, some of the mature cheddar 𝐕𝐢𝐧𝐝 cheese, or you can make your own, and some avocado. It's thebomb.com. Bomb diggity, baby. So that's my video today. I just thought I'd share while I was eating my pizza. If you're gonna eat, enjoy what you eat, because what you think, it's the energy you infuse in your food that reinforces wherever you're at in your mood. These are simple, sometimes challenging to your mind, but they are simple concepts. And it's something for myself that I've learned, or I wouldn't be able to share it. So I recognize I love food. I'm gonna enjoy every morsel, every flavor I'm gonna savor. I freaking love it. And that's what I'm here for. I wanna enjoy every experience I have. If I'm gonna feel like crap, I wanna savor, I wanna be in that too. So those are the moments too when I look in the mirror and I go, feeling kind of miserable right now. There's something in this. Wow, okay. I sit with it. And sometimes it's not so great, because, you know, the lotus has to blossom from the mud. So you got to sit in the mud before you actually see the fruits of the labor of being present. Like, the gift is that out of the mud will come your blossom. It will be revealed to you. But how patient and compassionate and present can you actually be with you? So many of us want others to be there for us. But if you can't be there for you, what makes you think they can do it for you? They're not going to be able to show up to you unless you demonstrate how that's done. So the moment you decide that you're important and you no longer feed your energy elsewhere, making others more important to you, come on. Start with you. That's where it all starts. Everything starts with self. When you have patience with yourself, when you have compassion with yourself, when you love yourself, you learn to love yourself. It's not always easy for some. Then you can extend that out to others equally as well. And how you treat you is what you demonstrate for others too. So if you want people to treat you a certain way and you're still up in arms saying, this person treats me a way I don't like being treated, look in the mirror and be honest with yourself, because they're showing up to you where you're at. Something in you energetically is attracting that. Energy doesn't lie. It's the head that gets in the way. The heart will never lead you astray. Acknowledge when the mind is trying to take you out on a crazy joyride. It's not always fun, because the mind wants to protect you, not keep you happy. So the mind is there for you to master, not it master you. This is why we always go back to meditation and mindfulness and being present. Because in order to master your life, you have to master your breath and slow down. so that you can become an awareness of your mind and master it. Then you can master your life. Mental floss. You have to clear out the garbage. There's a lot of junk up in here. And I know you can do it because I've been doing it. And it's a constant, ongoing process. Sometimes it's fun and sometimes not so fun. Sometimes it's playful. Sometimes it's just like a war. It is what you anticipate, because what you anticipate, you create. So if you go in with the curiosity of a child and question everything you think you know, then maybe you will be rewarded with something exquisite, something much deeper, because that's how we get to know ourselves intimately. Into me I see is what reveals your truth. The deeper you dive, the higher you rise. That's the lesson in the life. You want a rich life? Be willing to sit in your own shit. And then when you're sick of your own shit, you'll find what it is you really truly want. All right, I'm gonna eat the rest of my pizza in peace. But I hope you get to enjoy it one day, just like me. I love you very much. Have an amazingly blessed day. Let me know in the comments if this served you. Share, subscribe, click the notification bell, ding, and make sure that you get my notifications. You know, the algorithm on YouTube, if I don't ask you and you don't do it, then I just keep on falling below the radar. I got a lot more to share, I'm just saying. If you want to hear more about my experiences, I gotta know. You gotta let me know what you want to hear. Have an amazing, blessed night.